Kids, aloha! Another happy Sunday is here, and Uncle Martin he's got something for you. Well, I've been thinking about ever since that, not the last episode with, uh, with bullets, the one before, 52, episode 52. I've been thinking about it. I left you with the cave, what happened at the cave. And then I said that there was the crew, the gang, the shaman and his Tila and four, five girls, numbers. Five girls came back to the springs, to the hot springs, spiritual Indian hot springs, and I said that I would have an episode on um, going back to the cave uh, with this beautiful, excuse me, beautiful Indian girl. I think she might have been half Indian, but she did have really high cheekbones. I don't want to go into my speculation on what tribe that would have been, but she was definitely, as Andy Mayberry said, nature worked a lot longer on her than some other people. I guess nature works that way. So that's what I'm going to talk. That's the thumbnail. That's the thumbnail this Sunday. It'll be the 7-day fast. Before I get to that, I have to just go back a smidgy bit on my second spiritual teacher, Lee. Excuse me. He had mentioned quite a few things, and one was fasting. How it is important that you have your spiritual protection around you, which happens to be a circle of white light. We'll get into meditation one of these days. Put that on the back shelf. It'll be under meditation. But when he brought up fasting, he said there are so many people out there on this planet. He didn't say if it was terrific or terrible, but he said this planet has a concept of fasting, and a majority of people have this concept that when they fast and they don't eat or they don't drink anything, they just breathe air. That to me is fasting. All right. People people have all different understandings of that, but that's where Uncle Martin's coming from. All right. And I'm not limiting anybody. You can call, whatever you're going to say. This is what I feel it is. When you don't eat or drink, that is fasting. All right. Now, under that concept, there's people that say you get weaker. Weak. Oh, you're so weak. I can't be up on the floor. I can't get up. I've been fasting. He says, excuse me. Excuse me. He says that this is a negative concept. There's a positive concept, which is what happens when you fast. It's really pretty simple, kids. I don't want you kids doing it, but when you get 18, but all you other kids, I want you to eat 3 meals a day: breakfast, lunch, and dinner. All right. But for the rest of you that might be listening to Uncle Martin that might consider a fast, this is the concept that scientific is. It is your concept of what you're thinking, of course, but on the whole, why you're fasting. The reason being is we keep feeding ourselves all the time. We do not allow our organs, all of our organs, to work on themselves. We just keep giving them something to do. And when you keep eating and eating and drinking, all you do is keep, well, hopefully it's not toxins that you're bringing in your body, but we do just by breathing and walking around. I mean, that happens. So you have to get rid of these toxins, and by fasting you do this at a quicker stage than not fasting. The concept of you being weaker, no. Well, it's negative, and it will happen when you think that way. When you think positively, you become stronger, is what his concept was. that since your body is now able to work on its own, the organs, you're not shoving food in your mouth to have them not work on themselves. They hardly ever work on themselves. They're always working on that food you're giving them. That's all. And so what happens is when you don't, they work on them. They get stronger. They start detoxifying. They start getting rid of all the things that might make you sick or not live as long. I'm sorry. Cosmic humor keeps hitting me. Yeah, they did the thing on rats, or could have been mice. Whatever rodent it was, they stuffed. Let's just say mice. I'm sure they did it with both, but the concept was that the same thing happened. Basically, all animals that have been fed a lot of food did not live as long as the ones that didn't get as much food. Okay, that was the concept. And people, you know how we are always eating and feeding ourselves. Maybe we don't need to eat as much as we do. But then we're talking about our desires, and that'd be another topic. I'm not going to go there. I'm going to stay with this thumbnail no matter what. So his understanding to me was, and to everybody in the class, you get stronger and stronger and stronger the more you fast. You can. Your body will do this, by the way. Uncle Martin's living proof. That's what I'm bringing up here, for crying out loud. So that concept that he had, I applied in the cave. and everywhere else I've been since I was 18. And it works this way. That you get stronger when you think this way. If you're thinking getting weaker, you will get that way. Okay, that's all I'm trying to put out on fasting. Juice fasting is fantastic. Juice fasting, absolutely. Before I would start with that before you just stop. Don't. Absolutely, juice fasting, fantastic. Or I'm not. I'll have a whole segment on fasting one of these days, but not right now. I just want to get through this thumbnail on the 7-day fast with this girlfriend of the shaman medicine man's Sheila that he was sending me up to the cave alone with, is all I'm trying to say. And I was thinking about that. I was thinking, actually, I did ask Miguel. I said, why would you want me to go up? Because they came back on the land, and okay, that was the other thing. He was doing things. Let me answer the question, and then I'll tell you what he was doing. All right. He said, because I can trust, out of everybody here, I could trust you with taking her up there. I said, oh, okay. I said, what about a boyfriend? You know? And he says, nope. I got plans for him. We got to do stuff, but she's got to go on this. She's got to do this 7-day fast because it's a cleansing. And he correlated what I already understood to be true. All the cells in your body get rejuvenated after 7 days, especially after a 7-day fast. That's, a lot of people have pros and cons on this, but I've understood it from the Edgar Cayce group. I've understood it from my teacher, the second one, and now it's the third time I'm hearing it. I'm saying, yeah, I already know about all that stuff. Sounds pretty positive to me. So we were going to the cave together, me and this other guy's girlfriend. Before we went, the shamans ran. Oh, by the way, I didn't tell you. Some of the people at the Indian Spiritual Hot Springs, they had an ailment. It was called a staph infection. And I really never really thought about it, you know, other than all these people had all these sores all over their body, you know, and I don't know, and I did know that you can get it by skin to skin contact through people leaving their stuff around, and you've been handling it. It can be contacted that way also, but that's about all I really knew about it. I didn't know it could kill you. That's only if it gets into your bloodstream and all that stuff, you know. because I Googled, I wanted to make this sure for you kids or everybody that's listening, that staph infection is very important. It has to do with hygiene too. You want to always wash your hands and just stay clean. Take showers and stuff like that. Common sense stuff. Good hygiene. We all know about good hygiene. Yeah. So he was going around. Now I was watching this from a distance. I was just wondering because he was going to everybody that had these sores. And he went to all these people, and he went like this. He went over to their sore, touched it, and then he went back, put it on his tongue. And he did that to about a dozen people. And then he came back over to me. I'm kind of like looking at him, I'm thinking, I guess you got an intent here. Because everybody else is saying they had fear. They had fear, see? Fear. And he was trying to put across to me that disease is what I understand disease to be also, that it's when you're not at ease. Also, what you're thinking of. I'll get into that too someday, maybe. But it was totally on the same plane that I was understanding from my second teacher. That he said, it's all up here. It's all up here. It's all up here. So yeah, well, I already know that. You're not telling me nothing I don't know. I mean, I already understand that. He says, oh, okay, all right. Get out of here. Go get up to that cave. So we went up there, me and his girlfriend, or not his girl, his Keel's girlfriend, took the 6-7 mile trip up there, and all I had was my blanket, and I did have my staff. I always had that with me. It was nothing, like I had a mountain lion or anything to deal with, but I thought maybe, a couple coyotes. Actually, I just felt really secure. All my life, I've always had a stick. I went in the woods, I had a stick. Kids, you were always having stick fights. You're not supposed to do that because it'd be very dangerous. So I always had a sword, a stick in my imagination, but not always. I had a staff by the time I got out to the desert. That's all I'm going to say. So we get up to the cave, and it's going pretty well. I believe she did bring a sleeping bag, and she had, I don't know, maybe a top and a bottom, But since we were from that area, the Spiritual Indian Hot Springs nudist commune going for breatharian that were celibate, well, she wasn't wearing. She got rid of her clothes when we got up to the cave, and I got rid of my blanket. No big deal. See, because we were looking at each other like we were naked, but we weren't like naked. I already went through that. I believe it was in episode 37, naked versus naked, and I'm not going to go there again. I'm just saying this is the concept that I had, that it was no big deal. No big deal. So we got about 4 days into, pretty much just, she was sleeping in her sleeping bag. I was sleeping on my blanket. It was winter time, but it wasn't really cold in the cave. Always had a nice fire going. And it seemed to be where it was 3, 4, 4, 4, 5, 5, 4 and 5, 4. Thank you. The fourth day, 2 people showed up. Apparently there was a party down back at the springs. There was a girl and a guy. The girl had been, and the guy too had been. I didn't know what they did, but they did something. They came back up there. They were really sniffling cold. It looked like they didn't have very much energy to them, and for whatever sake it was, they said they felt safer up there in the cave than they did back at the Spiritual Indian Hot Springs. So I said, oh, there's plenty of room in this cave, no problem. So as they didn't have anything except their clothes. They had clothes on, and they slept around the fire. But as I thought about it years later, I could have gave him my blanket, and me and the gal, uh, I don't know what her name is. I'm just gonna say, um, the little cutie. We could have shared her sleeping bag because we're on that stage of thought. We can do that. Um, I've done it so many times in the past anyway, so it was no big deal to me. Just sleeping next to somebody, and not just sleeping. So I didn't offer that. Um, See, it was kind of selfish. See, I thought years later that was selfish of me to do that, which it probably was. Um, so I always had thoughts about that, and I just wanted to put it out there that it would have been the right thing. Well, it depends where your mindset is. To at least give your blanket up for somebody that looked like the fire was going down. They might have been a little cold, and I could have, whatever. We had wood, but they could have been a little warmer. My only point. So they only spent one night there. Then they left. So then that's 4, 5, 6. We're on our sixth day of not drinking or eating food. And I'm feeling stronger. That's what I'm saying. I felt, and she seemed to be pretty strong herself. And my mindset and her mindset was the same, that you get stronger as you fast. That's all. And you get rejuvenated as you fast. See the concept. You got to keep the concept positive or not, I guess. So I was going around the side of the mountain. I was doing treks, and I was ripping up dead juniper trees. Which, by the way, juniper is the most sacred tree to Indians. That's why you don't really chop down the dead ones or anything, or the live ones. But I was pulling up the dead ones and bringing it back and smashing them with rocks. And we had that's what I'm saying. We had plenty of firewood. But gosh, it was that one day. It was on the sixth day that it's what happened that I want to. Oh, I guess I got to tell you. When she was laying on the rock, there was two rocks, two big boulders. She was laying on it, laying on her back on the rock, and well, anyway, I had some thoughts, but that's what I got to do. Just go back one smidge, one smidge. Heck, it's 2 years I got to go back. Now the 2 years I'm going back because in the past I've told you that dreams come true. Episode 48, dreams come true. I told you about that one. I had a 50-minute sleep. Three things come up. Right, boom, 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 and then the next day, the next 7 days. There you go, another 7 days. We're cousin Jim and I we're out camping. I had 50 minutes of sleep, and I did lose my canoe. Elsie the cow did save us, and Gretchen was trying to drag me into that bathroom. The dreams do come true, kids. That's what I'm saying. But they don't have to come through within a short time. It could take years for it to happen. And that's what I want to tell you about, just so we can get back to the rock up at the cave, outside the cave. I was Jersey Central Railroad. I was a qualified brakeman, as I said in the past, and I was dreaming in 1974. I remember it well because I wrote all my dreams down, and I can remember that stuff. But I woke up after I remembered two dreams in a row. Um, the first one was there was a big wall, 2.5, 3 foot high, but I was in the midst of a bunch of wheat, and the wheat was pretty high. Actually, the wheat was ready to go. It was ready to be harvested, and all I had was basically a white, some kind of a white gown. It did have a hood, but I didn't have the hood on. All right, and the hood was down, but I had my hands on a. I thought it was a sickle. Was it a sickle? But man, it wasn't a sickle. You know the guy. They got him pictured as death. He's in a black robe and he's got his hands on it. I thought it was a sickle. So I had to Google. What does death have in his hands? It's not a sickle. A sickle is something circular and it has one handle. A scythe has two handles and it's a lot longer blade. And he's supposed to be reaping human souls, right? I mean, This is the way it goes. And that's what that little imp told me when I first got there. He says, the devil's going to be this is the time, 1976, this is the time the devil's going to be reaping the souls. And he says, then there's the other side, there's going to be people reaping the other souls. Yeah. So that was this little, I'll bring the imp in, I promise. That'll be another episode. I don't want to go too far with this because I just want to keep it to where what a sickle, one-handed, and a scythe is. So the dream I had was I had a scythe in my hands and there was a bunch of wheat in front of me. All right, that's all I had. And then right after that dream was this dream that I was up in the air. I was somewhere. Now I'm in New Jersey having this dream. I am in the air. I am an eagle, and there's this another a female eagle, and we're really getting close, and we're intertwined, and we're just, and then we morph into me as a human, and her as an Indian girl. We're kind of rolling around and stuff, and we're on these cliffs and stuff, and I wake up and I say, that's the goofiest dream I ever had. I mean, well, maybe the first part with the wheat, yeah, that made sense, but the second one, that's the craziest dream I ever had. But I've said that in the past, and so as crazy as they get, kids, this is where we're at. Outside the cave, I got the two boulders, this beautiful Indian girl laying, just kind of sunning, taking the sun in. And I looked at her for one brief second and I thought, well, versus naked, for 1 second, I kind of saw naked. Just 1 second, naked. And then as soon as I thought naked, that dream popped into my head, and I'm saying, holy mackerel, this is the dream. This is the dream that we were rolling around in these high cliff areas, and this stone, this mountain, this Dome Mountain looks exactly like the color rock that I had in that dream. And as soon as that hits me, she looks up at me, looks right in my eyes, and says, sort of like what they all said. What they all said what happened to me in 52, episode 52, when I was in the cave, and and the shaman says, it's time for us to go. She did basically the same thing. She looked up at me, and when I had that thought, and I don't know, telepathic, she looks up at me and says, it's time that I must go. I said, go? We've got another day to go. We've gone 6 days. We got 7 days. We got 7 days to do this. And she says, no, I can't spend another night here. I cannot spend another night here in this cave. I said, why? What's the matter with this cave? She says, no, I just can't, because we had no problems in the cave before, and now all of a sudden she has a problem in the cave. I couldn't understand it until later. So I was going to say, hey, see you later, man. I got one more day here, I got 7 days. I'm going to do my 7 days, man. You can go back. But then I thought, the shaman, he said, take care of her, make sure she's safe. Excuse me. He said, that was his last words, make sure she's safe. I said, absolutely. So then that rung in my head, and I said, I can't spend another night in the cave. I gotta walk her back. So we walk back, and we get down there, and I didn't know until years later that that was her test also, to be there up there with me and to see, maybe she had a test to be tested. This guy tested us on all different levels. Let me tell you, if you haven't gone back to any of those episodes, I'm not going to go into it. And I haven't gone in all of them yet, but that was definitely a test, probably for her and me. I passed it no problem. But so she had her test to pass, and I guess she figured rather than get tested anymore, She wanted to go back. The heck with the fast. Let's just get back home down to the springs. So we get back there, and I don't know. Oh, that's what it was. They're all cooking these beans, and as you know, in the past, I said on the food part with food, that episode, from meat to breatharianism, that episode. There's people there, and she comes into it. The two leaders that said you can't, because they were all raw. We're going for breatharian, and if you cook anything over 38 degrees, you kill it. Okay, well, that's your idea. And my mind is I'll bless it, and I'll transmute any negativity, and I'm going to bring it to where it's going to do very well for my body. And I put that across to them many times, because that's why another reason they called me no limitation, right? I mean, every time they threw something at me, I threw something back at them, and they said, well, yeah, I guess so. I guess they would, because they knew the law. Whatever you think, only you can limit yourself. These people knew the law, okay? But they were throwing a lot of the other stuff in there. That's why I kept turning it around. Hey, there's another way of thinking about this. What about if we do it this way? Yeah, I guess you're right. So that's why the kids were, here comes no limitation. So that's why they were doing that too, you know? So I'm still saying, this is Uncle Martin, anonymous, and no limitation. Anybody wants to know? So we get back at the springs, and now this guy, the shaman, has got these beans in a big pot. It's a big old pot, and it's enough to feed, well, all the people that are living there, plus his little tribe. And so he's cooking it up, and you can smell the beans in the air. They're cooking pinto beans, and they had the tortillas. They were making fresh tortillas. They had the flour and the whole thing. They were doing a fantastic job on those tortillas. I'm watching it all. I'm thinking, hey, because he says, hey, you want a bean burrito? I said, has it got any cheese? And he said, no, there's no cheese. I said, well, I've been on a 6-day fast. Yeah, I guess I could use a burrito. And by the way, kids, you don't break a 6-7 day fast with a bean burrito normally. But I was told by other people and everything, my stomach was a little more unusual. I could have ice cream and pickles and still go down and chop down a tree, a dead tree. So and also I was brought up to understand, if you take care of your stomach for 50 years, your stomach will take care of you for the next 50 years. So I was brought up under that understanding and that mindset too. So I've always taken care of my stomach. So we're down, and now it's time. He's passing out these burritos. Now, all of a sudden, all these people from the hotel come out, and they're all standing around watching the guy putting out burritos, and all his little tribe's eating some, and then they're looking at me because I'm part of the gang here. And they're looking at me like, and she's looking at me really like dagger eyes, the gal that's in charge. And she's saying, you're gonna have, you can't. And then she kept with it. Anything over 138 degrees, you kill it. And everybody's looking around. They say they don't care about that. They just want a bean burrito. And it was like, excuse me. It was. I guess it was up to me. Excuse me. What, to break the ice or something? You know? Was there a puddle here? So I said, yeah, absolutely. I'll take one of those burritos. I'll take one of those bean burritos. And then everybody else is looking, oh, he had one. So all of a sudden, the chain of command, everybody's having bean burritos. And they're saying how yummy they are. And because we did a big blessing over them anyway. That's what my point was. We're going to bless these beans. We're going to bless these burritos. And they're going to do the best for everybody that eats it. Because they're healing. She had nothing. She had nowhere to go. So at the end, after everybody had it, her and the other guy that were in charge of the whole scene, they had a bean burrito too, because it was blessed. It was blessed, and it would do the best thing for you. See, and that's how food works, kids. When you have that intent to bless your food, to be grateful for your food, whatever it is, it will do well for you. Unless down the road, 2 minutes, 2 hours, you say, I shouldn't have eaten that. That's when everything stops. And your digestive doesn't work as 100% like it could. That's all I'm going to say about that. I brought that up maybe a little bit in the past. I stay with that firmly to this day. So the other part of this is the shaman. Remember when he was running around? Um, all these people didn't have any. We're back in 6 days, and the same people that had all these sores, all of them, all the sores were gone. All the sores were gone. Hey, what a coincidence. So, it's not funny. It's not funny. This one guy that was the healer there, he there was this girl that still had all her sores, but they weren't as visible, and they were in different areas. And she was laying out by the. See, I saw this from a distance. Uh, there was a full moon. It was very bright. She's laying. She was also very beautiful, and she was sitting next to the hot springs. And she was like one of those pictures of some kind of goddess or something, just laying like that, and the moon's hitting her. And this guy, this this fellow that was the healer of the gang, I guess. Nobody was really getting healed though that I noticed. And he went over to her, and you know he was doing the same thing as the shaman did, right? And then they both got up and they went into her teepee. So everybody had a teepee except me. I had that dome I told you about, but yeah. Army Navy octagon dome. And she I don't know what they were doing, but maybe healing. They were doing healing in the teepee. So the next next couple days, she didn't really get healed, and he had contacted the staph infection he now had. And by the way, kids, I've known about this for years now. Coconut oil. Coconut oil is very important because, well, coconut oil, extra virgin coconut oil is the best. It kills viruses, it kills bacteria, and it kills fungi. And I won't go into any of the issues of what brings these things on, because nobody's going to say, I'm going to sue Uncle Marty. No, I didn't say any specific problem. I'm just saying it's documented, and it's worked for our family for many years, that viruses, bacteria, and fungi will die with extra virgin coconut oil. All right, and I'll just leave it at that. You can put that on the back shelf. I did some other things with episode 46 with aloe vera and the healings of aloe vera. Me personally doing what I did. And then episode 40, healing. Absolutely another healing was episode 40, and that was on triple cold pressed casserole. All true stuff Uncle Martin had to do too. So you got 2 to look at, episode 40 or 46. On more healing, physical healing. I didn't even get into mental healings, emotional healings, spiritual healings. I have not even touched upon that. Just put it on the back shelf. When I get to know you a little better, I'll bring it out, okay? But right now, we're just going to stay with this little topic of physical healings. You might want to check all those things out, or not, And by the way, the bacteria in your gut. You need bacteria, by the way. There's positive bacteria and negative bacteria. Just like there's positive and negative anywhere on this planet, terrific or terrible. Now, gut bacteria will not be harmed by extra virgin coconut oil. If anybody's saying, I got bacteria in my gut, I don't like it. No. It's gonna be okay. So that's all I'm going to leave you with, the 7-day fast. It only got to 6 days. But I have more time up in that cave that I can still throw out at you. This is all true story stuff that I'm not making up. I'm just saying this is what Uncle Martin did back in 1976. And that dream in 74 that came true for Uncle Martin 2 years later, but it still came true. Not like episode 48, dreams come true. That came back a lot faster. So, dreams come at different levels, different timelines, different wavelengths for it to manifest into your daily life. That's all. And I'll have one on dreams on everybody that wants to diagnose or see there is symbology in dreams, and maybe just give you a dozen things to look at to maybe could help somebody. But until that time, just put that on the back shelf. It'll be under diagnosing dreams. That'll be a positive one. So, and by the way, I did go back up to that cave numerous times, but there was one that just really probably the last one that I had gone up was memorable because I was going for 12 days, a 12-day fast, and I guess that'll be under the episode thumbnail, 12-day fast, and yeah, we'll go with that when that time comes. But for right now, I just want to say I can really feel that everyone is feeling a lot better. You're looking a lot better. And until I see you again next Sunday, be well. Aloha. And it's always a pleasure.